In today's video, we have breaking news. A federal appeals court has made a shocking announcement about President Trump's tariffs. Secondly, Gavin Newsom is getting desperate. He's now attacking Speaker Johnson. And the Chicago mayor, once again, is humiliating himself. In all these videos, we'll show you what both sides are saying and then give you the bottom line.
Breaking at this hour, President Trump responded to our lead story that an appellate court ruled that most of his tariffs are illegal. That ruling just about within the hour. He just posted seconds ago. All tariffs are still in effect. Today, a highly partisan appeals court incorrectly said that our tariffs should be removed, but they know the United States of America will win in the end. If these tariffs ever went away, it would be a total disaster for the country. It would make us financially weak, and we have to be strong. The USA will no longer tolerate enormous trade deficits and unfair tariffs and non-tariff trade barriers imposed by other countries, friend or foe, that undermine our manufacturers, farmers, and everyone else. If allowed to stand, this decision would literally destroy the United States of America. At the start of this Labor Day weekend, we should all remember that tariffs are the best tool to help our workers and support companies that produce great Made in America products. For many years, tariffs were allowed to be used against us by our uncaring and unwise politicians. Now, with the help of the United States Supreme Court, we will use them to the benefit of our nation and make America rich, strong, and powerful again. Thank you for your attention to this matter again. The President of the United States just seconds ago.
All right, let's make sure you guys understand the full picture here. According to this federal appeals court, President Trump has been exceeding his authority under the IEEPA. Now, what does that stand for? The International Emergency Economic Power Act. Okay, this gives the president authority to regulate, investigate, prohibit imports and exports, including issuing tariffs. It was created by Congress. But according to this court, it's not clear enough as far as saying what the president can do and what he can't do. So it's really up to interpretation. And according to the court, they interpret the law in a way that says that the president is exceeding his authority. Now, obviously, the White House is rebuking that, and they're claiming, no, it needs to be that vague to give the president the ability to do what he's doing. So, of course, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. It might just come down to party lines. That's what some people think. However, here's what CNN thinks about all this.
President Trump also said in that Truth Social post that he thinks tariffs are the best tool to help American workers and support companies. Your clients whom we interviewed the ones who are wine cellars in Manhattan. They disagree very strongly.
Exactly. So they do disagree and, do think that the tariffs are harmful. But I think what the court today said is, look, if the president thinks these tariffs are so important, and today I guess he said they're going to destroy the country if you don't have the tariffs, then make that case to Congress. That's what every president has done before him. Indeed, it's what Donald Trump did the first time around when he was president. When he was in his first administration, he went to Congress and tried to ask for tariff authority. And what they say, Jake? They said no. And so if this is so important, he's got, the Congress is controlled by the Republican Party. It's his party. Go make the case there. But don't distort the Constitution in the process.
Okay, well, here's something that CNN is not going to tell their viewers. If you own a business, you probably have already learned this lesson, that it's not guaranteed. Your success is not guaranteed in business. And that is the cold, hard truth to it. It's also true that there are people that have been negatively impacted by President Trump's tariff strategy because their business is centered around trade. But this leads me to my second point. As a leader, maybe in your home, in your marriage, or even as a business owner, you're going to have to make a decision that people are not going to like, that will cause pain, but it's the right decision. And what I mean by all that is President Trump is doing the hard right, not the easy wrong.
Matthew, it's a big case. It is a big ruling. It would be substantial, consequential, but it also is in place. The tariffs are until October 14th, according to this ruling, and would certainly go before that time to the U.S. Supreme Court.
I think that's right, Brett. I think this case was probably always headed to the Supreme Court, and so this afternoon's ruling is just another step along that path. And I'm not so sure that the court is going to take up the case immediately. They may say that they're going to hear it, but they may wait until the term begins and later in the term. So the tariffs could have an even longer life than just October 14th. I'll say this, though. The ruling went against the Trump administration, but it was not unanimous. And I think the Trump administration is counting on a more heavily Republican Supreme Court to take the president's arguments about the need for these tariffs more seriously.
Annie, you're nodding your head. I mean, this is crucial to economic policy as seen by the Trump administration, part two.
Yeah, and I think Matt is absolutely right. The Trump aides that I talked to have always expected that this question is ultimately going to be settled at the highest court. So this was always expected. And when you look at the ruling, Republicans on the court did dissent from the ruling. So you're seeing a template for what the Supreme Court could end up doing.
Now, Laura Ingraham points out an interesting fact in all this. In the first Trump administration, they used Section 201 and 301 below to justify tariffs. They were all upheld in court. Using the Section 232 emergency provision was aggressive and bold, but always risky. Today's appellate court ruling isn't surprising. Yeah, so we're going to see what actually happens, and some people believe it'll just come down to party lines on the Supreme Court. But one thing is for sure. These tariffs are not destroying this country in the same way Democrats would be, and they did under Biden. Two, the president is making a solid argument in regards to tariffs. There's no question the middle class has been hollowed out. Jobs have gone overseas, and we need to adapt with the times, and we need to balance out our trade deficits. That's a worthy argument. All right, now what I want to do is talk about something serious. As you guys know, we upload a video every single day to keep you guys informed. Now, how am I able to keep up with that level of consistency? The secret is me getting a quality night sleep. Now, the only way I've been able to do that is use a product called Beam Dream. And after serving 13 years in the military, I'm telling you, I had a hard time sleeping, waking up every 2 hours. It's getting annoying. Now, with Beam Dream, it's a powdered drink. You put it in a coffee mug, you add warm water, you stir it, you drink it, you sleep good. That's the bottom line to it. And I encourage you guys to try this for yourself if your sleep has been disrupted. And another thing you'll love are the ingredients, which are very clean: reishi mushrooms, melatonin, magnesium, just a phenomenal product and great tasting, by the way. And the good news is they're doing a Labor Day sale where you can get up to 40% off when adding the promo code DARKINS to your checkout. Again, that's 40% off during this Labor Day sale, or you could go to the link in the description below. Okay, so now we're going to go to our next story, and this is about Gavin Newsom. He has now attacked Speaker Johnson. He's attacking Republican states. He's coming out and trying to expose the crime rates of these states. But in my opinion, he's getting a little bit more desperate. Let me show you an example of that. Take a look.
If he can rig next year's election, we joke about not having another one. I don't think that's a joke. He will wire this for the next 20, 30 years. He's already sending out mass people to intimidate folks. Do you think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that.
I mean, this is crazy talk. I don't know where the governor gets this stuff. I just think he's desperate. He's trying to throw spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks. But that started some crazy talk, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, desperate's almost an understatement here. And look, the Democratic Party thinks that they have like a comms problem. So they're like, all right, we're going to tell people that Donald Trump is evil. You already tried that. You did it for literally a decade. You said that he's insane and he's going to start World War III. Didn't do it. He's going to blow up everything with Ukraine. It didn't happen. He's going to get us into another war. Didn't happen. He's trying to end wars around the country, or I should say around the world. And so you look at what their problem is right now. They have a policy problem. What are Democrats in favor of going into the midterms? More crime, open borders. They're against praying, and they think it's evil if you're praying after a school shooting, which is beyond me. And then they're filled with Marxists, socialists, and communists who can't even figure out what their party's in favor of. They started their convention by saying we need to give the land back to people.
Now, we are talking about a guy by the name of Gavin Newsom, who believes President Trump is not going to leave the White House in 2028 and will run again as president, all because someone's been trolling the governor by sending him a dozen MAGA hats, which I actually find to be funny if you think about it. Now, if he's taking that as a signal that the president won't leave the White House, then he really needs to get his head examined. Okay, that's how crazy this is getting.
But he name dropped you personally yesterday, essentially trying to say that crime is worse in Louisiana than it is in California. Take a listen. We'll get your thoughts.
If he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district. Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than California's in Louisiana.
Have at it.
Again, Gavin Newsom will do anything for attention. He can name drop me all he wants. He needs to go and govern his state and not be engaging in all of this. Look, we have crime in cities all across America, and we're against that everywhere, and we need to bring policies to bear. My hometown of Shreveport has done a great job of reducing crime gradually, but we've got to address it everywhere that it rears its ugly head. And I think every major city in the country, the residents of those cities, are open to that and anxious to have it. And we're the policy, we're the party that's going to bring that forward. I look forward to that in the days ahead.
Principally, though.
All right, well, I would have expected a better response from Speaker Johnson, but I'll give him a pass. Because what's more important is this particular number. I'd love to see what Gavin Newsom has to say about this. According to multiple reports, only 49% of California law enforcement agencies submit their crime data to the FBI. Other reports suggest significantly lower figures, such as Axios, finding only 2% reported in 2021. And let's not mention how they manipulate the numbers too. So the governor's going around here trying to attack all these other states from their crime rates when he really should be focused on his own state and focus on being an actual governor instead of some kid who's playing politics online all day, because that's literally what he's doing.
I also need to say about this idea that Gavin Newsom suddenly cares about crime because of Donald Trump and he's imitating him. This partnership with California Highway Patrol is from 2023. So from the Biden era, it was effective, then it was expanded. He has sent officers to Bakersfield, San Bernardino, and Oakland. They've already made over 9,000 arrests, recovered 500 stolen cars, 400 firearms. Okay. This is not about Donald Trump. This is about a way to manage your own state without actually the federal government coming in and usurping the power of democratically elected leaders.
Paul, so Jessica says that Gavin Newsom is mocking Donald Trump, but maybe he's following his playbook. I mean, sending in more and more police into these
I just told you where it came from. He did it before Donald Trump is copying Gavin Newsom.
Okay, well, it looks like to me Jessica is making her point here. Why did the governor have to deploy additional resources into these areas? Because crime is a problem in California. That's why. Doesn't that prove the entire point that these Democrat-run states and cities have crime issues? And really, we shouldn't. But they're the ones that amplify it because they're soft on crime. And we know California has to be one of the softest states. Now, what's also interesting is Fox News earlier as well was questioning why would the president go to Chicago to try to assist with cracking down on crime. You have to hear the way she has to ask this question. Of course, she gets a reality check.
What about the stat that shows us Illinois not even on the top 10 list of states in terms of homicide rates, and then also not in the list of top 10 cities in terms of overall crime? Meaning, even if you don't dispute the fact that Chicago is crime-ridden, should it be the top priority for the president?
Yeah, I think it should be absolutely the top priority for the president. Actually, we just initiated a little bit of a report that we sent to our superintendent of police asking to see the crime stats, because unfortunately what happens throughout the country and in Chicago as well is you might have homicide rates up, but when you reclassify those as death investigations, on paper that number doesn't show as high anymore. When you've got shootings where there's no victims, but there's actually rounds that have been shot and there's damage to property, they label those things now sometimes damage to property, not an overall shooting. When they find those shells on the ground, sometimes they label those things in the report as found property, not rounds found that would be claimed as a shooting. So numbers, even when I was in a job, my father is on the job, my uncle, my brother, my cousin, the whole family, this goes on. For anyone to say it doesn't happen, it's ridiculous. Our numbers aren't down. And people in your last segment have said that. Chicagoans don't feel like crime's down. It actually feels more like it's up. It's a scary place to live now.
I mean, let's get real. We're talking about the Democrat Party. I mean, it would make sense why. they would start cooking the numbers. I mean, they want to win elections and they're willing to do whatever it takes. Okay. Now, here's what the Chicago mayor had to say in response to all of this today.
We have been a city for a very long time that has protected the interests of working people, and we're certainly not going to back down, cower, break, or be intimidated by these acts of tyranny. You know, clearly, the federal government, the president of the United States of America, is looking to engender chaos and turmoil across this country. And in the city of Chicago, we're not going to stand for it.
Now, the mayor has so much to say about how Chicago's this and we're that and, you know, we're great and such and such. Then why are you such a terrible mayor then? Chicago does not deserve someone like you. That's the way that I see it. Now, here is Mr. Caldwell, who often is on Fox News, who is from Chicago. His response to what the mayor had to say. Take a look.
Well, Chicago's crime crisis has hit close to home for our Fox News political analyst, Gianno Caldwell. In 2022, Gianno's 18-year-old brother, Christian, was shot and killed in Chicago. And in a recent opinion piece, Gianno urges Trump to deploy the National Guard to that city immediately. Gianno joins me now, and he also wrote the new book, The Day My Brother Was Murdered, My Journey Through America's Violent Crime Crisis, a very important book for everyone who's interested in this topic to read. Gianno, you have such a deep and painful connection to this story and to this city in particular. So let me ask you this. When you hear somebody like J.B. Pritzker or Brandon Johnson come out and say, look, there's nothing to see here, there's no problem here, crime is going down, aren't they overlooking some of the most underserved communities that are feeling this pain almost every day?
I mean, they're intentionally lying about what the realities are in the city of Chicago. I remember the White House just mentioned almost 150,000 crimes committed just this year alone. That's insane. What we're seeing now is Democrats, whether it be locally, J.B. Pritzker or Mayor Brandon Johnson or Gavin Newsom, locally or nationally, are in a tailspin. The lies that they have been telling, the American people are not capitulating to.
Yeah, I would love to see what their reaction would be to the mother, the husband, the father, the brother, the sister who lost their loved one in violent crime in the city of Chicago, in the city of Baltimore. I'd love to see Mayor Brandon Johnson tell them that and see what they had to say about it. I'm telling you, these people, when they speak this way, like Mayor Brandon Johnson, these are people that have not actually experienced the thing that they're trying to defend. I find that to be interesting. All right, so why don't you guys let me know what you think about these stories in the comment section below. Why don't we start with Gavin Newsom? I mean, what is with this guy? He is so obsessed and desperate at this point. Now he's attacking Speaker Johnson. I don't think that's going to improve his approval rating. You let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Secondly, this federal appeals court has ruled that President Trump's tariffs are illegal. They've already, obviously, the DOJ will appeal that case to the Supreme Court. How do you think it's going to turn out if you had to take a guess? And then finally, leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, so in our next video, the mayor of DC has finally come out publicly and is now telling the truth about what President Trump has done to the city, which has made it safer and why it works. So if you missed out on that story and more from yesterday, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.